and welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk about the essential brushes that everyone needs in their brush arsenal. So before we get going, hit the subscribe button, share this video with somebody you think might like it, and let's do it. Alright, so this is actually one of those videos that I get asked about a lot, is what brushes do I absolutely need? And really, it varies, depends upon your eye shape. I want to give you my top 4 brushes for any eye shape, and then actually only 2 brushes that I use for the rest of my face. So the top 4 brushes look like this. Brushes are tools, you have to remember that. So, and using brushes is like an artist. So when you use certain tools, they are going to be customizable to your hand, what you like about them, how they work for you. So this is just a general kind of starting point if you're looking to get some brushes. I recommend investing in brushes. Yes, there are some great inexpensive ones out there, but the brush quality is really important and will show a huge difference in the blending of your eyeshadow, your blush, your bronzer, things of that nature. All right, so for the first one, everybody needs this type of packing brush. So can you see on the side where it is kind of tapered and it's dense and then it kind of goes to the top up here? So the reason why everybody needs this is going to be your packer, and we call that packing because you want to pack the color on your lid, and then you take your blending brush and blend. So if you don't want to be blending with a blending brush, you don't want to be blending with a packing brush, okay? This is to deposit color and to deposit intensity in that color. And I like this one. This one is by ZOEVA. It's the LUXE 234 brush. It's really, really fantastic, inexpensive, but very, very well made. And I use it almost every single day. I think I have 3 of them. But basically I use it to pack on the eyeshadow. You've seen me do this a million times, and then use a dry or a blending brush that has nothing on it to blend away the colors, okay? Now, you also want to pick the size of brush for your eye shape. So if you have a smaller eye shape, do not use a big old huge brush. I'm trying to find one right here. I have all my brushes out here. Like this big blending brush is even too big for my eye. You want to get brushes that are tailored to your eye shape, and that usually means smaller is better. Now, for the second brush I think everybody needs is a blending brush, just like this. It is kind of tapered at the bottom and then fluffs out at the top. This is actually a BK Beauty brush. This is the 202 brush. It's so beautiful. The little hairs on the top, if you can see them, the reason why they're there is so that it diffuses product. So when you're going up here and you're diffusing and you're blending and all of that stuff, these little hairs up here are going to help you do that. Now, the one thing that I will say is I do use this brush for an all-over shadow look like I have today. It just is a little bit quicker and it gives a little bit more of a diffused look. I don't want so much pigmentation by a packing brush, okay? So this is fantastic. Everybody needs a blending brush, and most people will choose too big of a blending brush, like this, like this. They are too large for most people's eyes. You want something that is going to be precise and get the job done. And so I love this brush. Fantastic. And then there's this guy. I think that this brush by Sigma, it's a short-haired shader brush, E20. You can see how it is tapered at the top, and it goes into kind of a point up here. If you are looking for that holy grail brush that smokes out this bottom lash line, this is it for you. I'm so sorry if you hear my daughter. She's home, and I just want to get this filming done, so I apologize if you hear her. But anyway, this is such an amazing eye diffusing brush. So you pick up product and you diffuse this underneath the eye. So for example, I'll show you. So I'm just using a little bit of the same bronzer that I have on my eyes, and I'm holding way down on the brush, and I'm just depositing color, connecting, and then it just has this perfect shape to really give that drop shadow. Do you see that? It's like my favorite brush for this. Again, the other eye. It gets the job done really, really quickly. Now, I do love a good pencil brush. This also is fantastic for what I had just said as well. I think that you really can benefit from using a pencil eyeshadow also, especially even something at the top. So this is a ZOEVA 230 brush. So for example, I'm using the same bronzer, but just for this kind of smudge detail work along the lash line, this is fantastic for it. Any kind of pencil brush. This one's great. There's one by Sigma that I use all the time. It looks like it's upstairs. But this is fantastic to really get some blending and definition at the lash line. You can also diffuse out cream eyeliner or a eyelining pencil. This is a great tool. So honestly, for me, those are the four brushes that everybody needs in their arsenal. You can do pretty much any look that you want, and that is fantastic. Now, I will give you two honorable mentions for the eye area that I do think are important. I think a synthetic brush is super important if you really like cream eyeshadow. This one is by Sigma. It's one of my favorite. It's a concealer brush. You can find a concealer brush for relatively inexpensive. All your cream products, so if you use any kind of cream eyeshadow, which I do a lot, you're gonna need a synthetic brush because that's the only way that you're not gonna ruin your brush, and also it helps move the product more efficiently and effectively. So a synthetic brush is fantastic. These will last you forever, you guys. I've had this forever. And then the other one I will say is a beautiful detailing eyeliner brush. Again, this is by Sigma. I think Sigma makes some great brushes. It's a small eyeliner. This is the E10. Now, I don't traditionally wear a lot of potted eyeliners, but I know a lot of you guys do, like potted cream eyeliners, and this is a fantastic brush for it. It's detailed work, it is specific, and it is small, and it is really well made that you can get that really precise line. Some people like the little curved one. I don't. I think that it's the wrong ergonomics for your hand. This just kind of will kill that. It's fantastic. Okay, now for the face, honestly, there are only two brushes that really the most, that anybody really needs on a daily basis. Now, as a makeup artist, I have, this literally is, this is like one, they're all falling out. This is one stash of mine, okay, that I just washed. So as a makeup artist, if you're an aspiring one, you're gonna need different size brushes and many different ones of the same one because you don't wanna use dirty brushes on people. Now, this brush is pretty expensive and I don't like double-ended brushes, okay, but it's a good demonstration of what I mean. This is by Hourglass, and this is their powder brush and blush brush, and this is their like contour bronzing brush, okay? So I think everybody needs some sort of contour bronzing brush that is small and tapered, and then I think everybody needs a blush and a powder brush, and usually they can be the same thing. Sigma makes a great powder brush that I use all the time. This is the large powder F30. So does BK Beauty. BK Beauty is 102. There's a lot of companies, but you can really find those really anywhere. But for me, it's really making sure, again, that you're choosing the right brush for your face. So if you are going to be using, so for example, I love this Luxe brush for blush. This is the 522 tapered highlighter brush. I don't use it for highlighter. I just will take it like this, pretend this is blush. And I just love how small it is, that it actually hits the places where I want the blush to be, and really doesn't go too far out. Because if you're using a big brush for blush, look at the surface area that it's covering, okay? So this is now taking over your contour, your highlight, and your blush. But when you are using this type of a tapered for your contour, look at how perfectly that is. Same goes for blush, okay? So I hope that that makes sense. So I know it feels weird to use smaller size brushes, but you also want to pick the brush right. So for example, this Luxe brush is again diffused at the top. So you know it's going to give that diffused look. Also making sure that you're holding your brush farther down. I have a whole video on brush technique that I will link in the description box because that's important too. So to kind of wrap that up, everybody needs just like a big old powder brush, blush, and some sort of contour brush. And you can actually use the contour or the bronzer and the blush brush, the same thing. But if you want separate brushes. So that is my kind of rundown. I know this can be a confusing topic just because there are so many brushes on the market and there are so many different shapes and sizes. Now, if something works for you, then have at it, and that is fantastic because you are the artist and these are your tools that really work for you. But if you are in the dark and don't know and just need a little bit of guidance, these are the top brushes that I would recommend for everybody. All right, thanks so much for being here. I will see you on the next one. Lots of love from me to you. Bye, loves.